2023, 5,823 fatalities occurred in the workplace. And those are just the fatalities that were reported. Usually there's more. It essentially breaks down into 3.5 fatalities per 100,000 man hours worked. How is that calculation even reached? How do you get data from an entire country and be able to formulate that magic number of 5,823? Every year, applicable companies fill out the OSHA 300A and 300 logs that basically tally up all of the exposure hours, being payroll hours, and any incidents, injuries, lost time, fatalities that have occurred during that year. The behavioral attitudes towards industrial safety has shifted. We're going to look at things like the internet, social media, politics, things that for someone like me, who has been a veteran of this industry for over 32 years, I've seen the big changes and I've seen subtle changes in the way that people behave. I mean, gravity hasn't changed. Electricity hasn't changed. People have. One of those changes that were noticed was in the form of attention to the task at hand, and attention to the surrounding hazards that occur on job sites on a regular basis. Once smartphones appeared on the scene, the changes really showed. The nice thing about industrial safety is that it is rooted in fact, and it's rooted in science, and it's rooted to an ethos that we just want people to go home safely at the end of the day, the way that they came in. There are rules to safety, but where do they come from? And why did we get them in the first place? We'll touch on some of that. Okay, let's start with the internet. Let's simplify. Let's say about 1998 to 2002, when the internet really became a part of everyone's life. You know, when you're as old as I am, you remember the day there was no such thing. We got our OSHA information out of a book that we had to order and pay a lot of money for. We have to keep people safe in spite of themselves sometimes. And there is a mantra. And those of you in the industry watching this, I think you've probably been told this before. Basically, it's this. If I have to care more about your well-being than you do, by all means, go find another job. OSHA regulations are developed and lobbied and adopted really based on the fact that so many injuries and fatalities have occurred that changes to the regulations need to be made based on science, based on behavioral studies, and the input from several scientific entities such as the National Fire Protection Association, ANSI, NIOSH, and the Chemical Safety Board. They are so easily found online that there's really no reason anymore that individuals can't find out how they need to stay compliant and need to stay safe in the workplace. A lot of times, people don't realize this. You know, social media isn't a brand new concept. In the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, a man named William Randolph Hearst owned several publishing companies and newspapers, and he had this thing called yellow journalism, which means that if he didn't like you or your politics or your relationships or whatever it is, he could print anything he wanted and destroy lives. Or he could be what they call a kingmaker. He was heavily influential in the United States and the world. So it's not a new concept. Go on any job site these days and you will see people in active work areas on their smartphones. The pressure of social media at times can be very distracting and take away from the work at hand or the attention that needs to be paid to finding hazards and working safely. It can be a liability. But any unsafe attitudes towards industrial safety, towards power tool, flammables, well, you name it, any high hazard work that has a pervasive negative set of directives pointed at the followers to say, hey, all of these safety regulations, they don't, that's all. They're just overhyping it. They're just trying to make money. They're just trying to do whatever.
And there are a lot of people who would normally not buy into something like that. Now, it's not just the young.
Okay, I'm going to talk about something you've never heard me talk about before. It's grinder safety, okay? Grinders are dangerous things, but here's the deal. For the last 350,000 years, our DNA has been making us very aware of everything that's dangerous around us. The problem is nowadays we have everybody that likes to tell us that. Corporations will tell you, hey, if you see something dangerous, warn these people. Yeah, but general public just doesn't need that, okay? Because general public is paranoid enough as it is. So there's no sense in being just irrationally scared of things that aren't that dangerous, okay? I run grinders without any guards because that's the way I like doing it. They will remove fingers, they will open up the flesh in a heartbeat. If you lock one on, and some of mine have the ability to lock them on, now they've done away with that, but I still love those. I love locking the blade on because I can lock it on and then I can actually position the grinder in a hard to get to place and it keeps running without me having a finger over the trigger. So for me, I do lots of things. You know, there's a lot of people that go skydiving, and have you ever seen that close proximity wingsuit flying? Okay, there's things in life that are dangerous. Okay, just don't back away from them because you've never tried them and somebody's convinced you that it's just dangerous. It's not. Most people exaggerate this completely. Us are so overreactionary to this stuff. We think, oh, you know, it's don't let Bobby have a grinder. It's like, you know, if Bobby cuts himself, worst thing's going to be is the soft tissue damage. He might lose a finger at worst, you know. We need these experiences to grow up in life, some of us. So it's like, it's okay.
It all boils down to the individual. When I teach a class, I ask everybody at the beginning, how much is your life worth? It's a hell of a question, I know. But here's some numbers you might find interesting.